Good morning. So, I wanted to talk today about losing your home. I've worked with disaster assistance with Red Cross for several years, but never really understood what people were going through until I lost my own home. So, in July, middle of July of this year, and today is October 29th of 2021. So, in July of this year, we had experienced a microburst in our neighborhood, which was actually quite common. But the microburst, when I stood up from my office chair, intensified. It almost doubled in strength, probably about 250 to 300 mile per hour winds. In that moment, I knew I was going to die. I didn't have any thoughts other than that this was it. Like I'm not going to survive this, and I dove underneath the dining room table. Seconds later, a crash happened, louder than I could ever imagine. The sound of the storm itself was huge. The crash was just monstrous. I immediately thought that the second story of my house was gone. I ran to the bathroom thinking maybe that was a safer place. But the tub was filled with things that we had in there storing it because we don't use that bathroom. And I ran to the basement. There was water pouring into the basement. And my thought was, I don't want to be buried under the rubble at the very bottom of the pile for people to find me. So again, I ran back upstairs. In all of this time, the storm is still raging. I grab a phone, called 911, and I'm just kind of like panicked. I look upstairs and I could just see blue sky. And I'm explaining to the 911 operator that I think I just went through a tornado. It took the fire department about 20 minutes to get there because there were so many trees down, the power lines were down, stuff like that. They just check on me to make sure I'm okay. And then, of course, because the whole neighborhood got hit, they needed to go check on everybody else, which they did. And it turned out a 40,000-pound tree fell on our house and destroyed the second floor. The first floor joists and things busted, so it came down into the first floor. And our basement was completely ruined by mold because it took them a couple of weeks to get the tarp on the house. We had people there at our house almost immediately. Ram and Service Master were literally at my doorstep before I could even think about what was going on. And they were, very well known in the insurance industry. Let me just say that people that work with insurance all the time have developed a relationship with the insurance companies, and they're not necessarily working for you, they're working for the insurance company. And that is not necessarily in your best interest. In fact, we had scam after scam after scam from these companies, and I would not suggest working with them at all. In fact, I would run as fast and as far away from them as you could possibly get. And I'll kind of go through what happened to us and how it has affected my journey in recovery. And I'll start with Service Master. Service Master came into our home. They came in with a tablet. We signed, electronically this piece of paper. We had no idea what it said. They told us it was just to allow them to take things out of our house. They came in with a ton of people, and they started loading things into boxes. We came in and watched what they were doing. They were not always taking pictures of everything that was going in the boxes. And it kind of felt like somebody was just walking into your house and boxing everything up, and without you knowing what was going in the boxes or having any idea of what they were doing. We got an email, probably like a day or two later, that had like a small, tiny list of pictures and things that were damaged. Everything that they said was damaged wasn't actually damaged. And we kind of looked at each other like, okay, how did they think that that's damaged? A sleeping bag, a kayak chair, some things like that that we had in the basement, that could be washed or wiped off, or things like that. And soon after, like maybe a day later, before we got the complete list, they sent us an email asking us if they could throw away all of the things that were damaged, that they needed authorization to throw those things away. Immediately red flag. Woo woo. They're marking things that they want, and supposedly keeping those things because they weren't damaged, right? So I freak out, like totally freak out. Like I haven't got a complete list and you're asking me to throw away everything that you're marking damaged. And they're like, well, the person is on vacation. Well, I'm like, well, you know what? The person that was actually like taking photographs is not on vacation. You guys are just, you've already taken like partial sheets and sent them to me, right? So red flags flaring, like absolutely flaring. Still, they took out a quartz countertop that we asked them not to take out because it was brand new. It was in really great condition. It was $5,000 worth of quartz. Yep, they took it out. Yep, it's gone. Yep, it's missing. And they're saying that they threw it away, but yet we didn't see anything in the trash. So yeah, really, really, really huge red flag there. The demolition that was done, they didn't throw away their trash. They left it in the house. The hardwood floors, there's still bags sitting in the house. They did not do the demo in the basement. They did the upper, they took off the second story. They stripped down to the studs the first story. They left the basement intact, which they knew had water damage. That was the whole reason they were boxing everything up. And they left all of the drywall, everything in there, and now it's like got 2 inches of mold in it. Horrible, horrible, horrible companies. Would not even go near them for a million, not even a million miles. We hired Matt Denson with Goodfeller Trees to remove the tree off of our house and dispose of that. He told us it would be $10,000 to do that. We thought that was outrageous. But the insurance company, and he was going to leave, everything there on the property. And the insurance told him to wrap the cost of disposing of all of that stuff into the cost that they were submitting to him. So he made it $17,000 and something. And so he sends them out a bill for the $17,000, parks all of his huge trucks in our yard, where our contractors can't get to the house, the water people can't get to the water, thing to turn off the water. There was all of these things, and he left it there. Supposedly he went on vacation. We ended up having to send a certified letter saying that if he didn't remove it, it would be $500 fine per day for him to have that parked in there. Still didn't move it for another week and a half. And so it was, he brought a gun onto the property, threatening our contractors. It has been an absolute nightmare with these people. I don't know if it's a representation of America or not, but all three of these companies were at our door before the storm was even over. Okay, so red flag: if somebody is at your door before the storm is even over, stop, think, don't do it. You're in a panic state, and I just said, you're hired. I didn't want to deal with it. Don't do that. Really, really, really don't do that. When Ram was going to actually do the construction on our house, when we met with him, he started talking about, well, we could do this thing half done kind of thing. Started giving me red flags right away, and I just looked at him and said, you're fired. I'm sorry, you're done. Nope. That to me is a threat. Nope, we're not going there. So so I ditched them. I went through talking to about 4 or 5 different contractors. My husband's pressing me, you gotta hire somebody. But every time I met with somebody, there was a red flag. It was like, oh, well, we don't want to give you phone numbers to the people that we've worked with, to the last 5 jobs that we've done. We don't want you to talk to them. Some guys didn't show up. Some guys were just constantly late all the time, not being able to get a hold of them. We finally found Virginia Builders, amazing. Guy shows up, nice suit and tie, prepared, constant, being able to talk to us. He's, very attentive, very, no red flags. He offers before we even say anything for us to come out to his job site of the house that he's working on at that point. I just can't say enough about how open and honest they were. And we have now hired them. So that's kind of what we're dealing with now. So now let me talk about the insurance company and let me tell you some of their tricks. So the first trick is that they give you this money to start out with for food and your necessities, toothbrushes, some clothes, because everything's been lost, right? You have nothing left, absolutely nothing. And so you go to this hotel, they're paying for this hotel. They kind of, wrap you into this, it's your money, not our money. But of course they never act like that. So they sent us in the very beginning, I believe it was $11,000. So we had to eat out every night. We were in a hotel for a couple of weeks. So we were eating out every meal and having to shop and get things that we needed, because we literally had nothing. Like, you don't realize how much stuff you have, that you have a need for in that 2-week time period. So we're doing those purchases and things like that. We ran into several things. So the first thing was, well, we've already paid you for that, but we don't have a bed. So we ended up being in a rental property. We had no beds, we had no mattresses, we had no nothing. Like, everything had been destroyed. So, we're spending this money on, a bed and a dresser and, just these normal things. And they tell you that, you've got to write an itemized list of every single thing that you've lost in the house. Okay, so luckily we took pictures of everything. We were taking pictures of the piles of stuff that they brought out of there that was damaged and destroyed and all this stuff. So all those pictures we had sent to the insurance company, and we're like, we're just going to estimate for you what we think that it's worth, which I'm glad that we didn't. Okay. I'm very glad that we didn't. So ask them to send you the sheets, the worksheets, so that you can write down everything. Luckily, we had pictures of the before and the after because we had our house listed on Zillow. And we were also an Airbnb for a little while. So we had really good pictures of what was there. They have these sheets that, have everything listed that would be in a closet. So use those as well. We came out with $135,000 worth of merchandise, and you don't realize at first, like, how did you do that? You don't realize at first, like when you're just thinking about what's in your house, how much money you actually have in belongings until you actually start writing it out as to what it was in your house and what you lost and how much you paid for it. So when they go in there, they told us, we sent them the sheets, and they sent us $17,000. That's what they sent us. They sent us $17,000. And then they said that's it. And I were like, wait a minute, what did you do? And so they sent us a list, a paragraph of all of these things. And they told us, we want you to take what's in that paragraph and take it off of your master sheets. Red flag, huge red flag, monstrous red flag, okay? Never take off anything off your master list. Never, ever, ever do it. Don't do it. It's a lie. It's a scam. They are scamming you. Don't do it. So instead we said, nope, we want you to take whatever that $17,000 that it is, and we want you to write beside in another column how much you paid for each of those items with that $17,000. Of course, they were like, she caught us. And they wouldn't do it, right? So then they start threatening us, we're going to have to bring a forensic person in to verify that you actually spent the $135,000 on this merchandise that's in your house. And you're going to have to give us tax returns. Well, first of all, your tax returns mean absolutely nothing as to what you bought. There's no reason for them to ask for tax returns, right? So I have pictures of that merchandise before it was hurt, and I have pictures of merchandise after it was hurt. That's all they need. That's all. They need to know what the brand names were and all of that kind of stuff, and how much it's going to cost for you to replace those items, right? How much those items are if you were to go out and buy them in a store. So anyway, so we're like, no. So then the second thing that they do is they send us a letter saying, you've requested a settlement. We're like, nah, no, we haven't. We're not requesting a settlement. We're requesting that you itemize every single item that's on our list and tell us how much you paid us for that item. And so we had to send another email, scam alert number 2, with the insurance company. Or actually, I guess that's number 3. So right now we are at the point where they are saying that we had asked for a settlement, which we're not. We're asking them to actually write down how much they paid on each of those items, which they still haven't done yet. So just so you guys are aware, it's a slippery slope. I don't know how to tell you how to do it, but make sure that when you are hiring a contractor that you get references from other people within that last couple of weeks that they've worked with. If they don't want to give you that information, or they're refusing to give you that information, go somewhere else. Absolutely go somewhere else. Do not even think about working with those people. When your insurance company, know that they are not there to help you. That's not their job. Their job is to protect the insurance company's interests. So you have to be that advocate for yourself. Don't call in a lawyer. The person that bought all the stuff in your house is the person that should be dealing with the insurance company, because you know what? You are the person that is vested most in what you had in your house and what you're going to have to do in order to replace those items. You're the person that's most passionate. You're the person that has the knowledge of how much you spent and how much it's going to cost for you to go back out there and replace it. So that's the person that needs to be dealing with them, and they're going to want you to have a lawyer, because that lawyer is a third party and they can convince him to do what they want him to do. Whereas, because that lawyer didn't spend that money. It's okay if it's $20,000 short to the lawyer, because you're getting, $80,000, or you're getting $100,000 instead of the $135,000. But $35,000 worth of merchandise that you've accumulated over the years, that's a lot of money. $35,000 is a lot of money. When you settle for $35,000 less than what it's going to cost for you to replace all that stuff, that's not okay. Settling's not okay. You have to replace those items whether they pay for them or not. And to pay another $35,000 when you've already been paying on that insurance policy for us 21 years that we've been paying on that insurance policy, that's not okay. It's not okay at all. So anyway, that's our experience with losing our house. I hope that it helps you. I hope that that when you're going through whatever you're going through, that you have the resources that you need. And if you want to comment in below or subscribe to my channel, that would be great. And also, if you want to just reach out, put in the comments below, and I will get back in touch with you and, try and see if we can't support each other in our losses. So have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you again.